That's about right. Great. That's always awesome. Welcome to Digital Asset News. Take a top stories in crypto, break down to bite-sized pieces. Sorry about the blank stare there for a minute. I thought I was frozen, but apparently not. Anyhow, thanks everybody for stopping by today. Just as the thumbnail and the title suggests, they knew. And when I talk about they knew, what I'm talking about specifically is about Nomad Capital. So we're going to take a look at how an audit last month, actually 2 months ago, revealed the exact same problem and the reason for the hack of what just happened. So we'll take a look at exactly what's going on there. Then we'll take a look at some more bad news. Robinhood, massive layoffs, increasing debt and rising inflation. We'll also take a look at the Solana ecosystem and GitHub hacks and what that actually means. And then we'll take a look at some good news, Tether, crazy, and Polygon as far as the unlocks. And then lastly, we'll talk about some more good news and what I like to call faith restored, which is iTrust. So let's just jump right into it. Market, my friends, looking pretty good. Resilient, I would say, right now. And I don't know what the S&P 500 is or the NASDAQ is. And quite honestly, I never really care. I just bring it up to show correlation. But I'm just going to assume that we're still correlated. So Bitcoin's up, Ethereum's up. USD, Tether, not bad. Cardano's 10% for the week. It's pretty good. Solana is only down 3% for the last 24 hours, which isn't bad considering the ecosystem hack. We'll talk about that. Polkadot's 23% up for the week. That's pretty crazy. Lido staked Ether, 1%. So everything's looking pretty good. Except for Kronos, but who really cares about that? Except for crypto.com. And then also, on top of the market being resilient, which is things that we'd like to see, especially with what's going on, the negative news, is also the MVRV Z-score. And I know we've talked about this infrequently. Mostly what we've taken a look at is just other scores that will kind of show us where an actual bottom could potentially be. And this is from Look into Bitcoin. And just so you know, the MVRV score takes a look at 3 different things: the market value, the realized value, and then, of course, they take a look what's in crypto in circulation. And then we get a Z score, which is the red line, which pulls out the extremes in the data between market value and realized value. And really all it comes down to is this, is when it dips below this little mark right here around 0.0 is a good time to start accumulating. And that could just be, I'm not talking about all cryptos, mostly Bitcoin. And if we take a look here on June 13th or so is when it dipped below that 0.0 and it was in the negative. So for quite a long time, we've been doing pretty well. But then as we've seen the price go up a little bit, it's actually gone up as well. But just so you know, right now, it just dipped down below yet again. So even though we are still at 23.4, this might not be a bad time to accumulate. That's not investment advice. These are just the things that I see. And when I take a look at these things, I'm always thinking to myself, is Bitcoin cheap or is it expensive? Does that mean that it can't go down to 12 or 14K? That's not what I'm saying. It might actually do that. But right now, for 23K, not too bad. I mean, if you want to wait, it's all you. I just, that's what I do is dollar cost average. So that's what's going on in the market. Let's jump into it and talk about, well, a plethora of things. Really 3 projects. We're talking about Nomad, Solana, and of course GitHub. So Nomad, everybody's been talking about this, obviously, and all the Twitterverse and YouTubes and all those people. And you already know that they've had a exploit for 190, almost $200 million. There's been different theories going around about why this happened and what went wrong and all those things. I really don't care about all those things. I just know a lot of people lost a lot of money yet again in another bridge hack. And bridges are going to be very unstable for quite some time. So just be aware of the projects that are getting there. You can write them out, but just so you know, they're going to have their tough time moving forward. Anyhow, this is what's going on. Nomad token bridge hack was the fourth largest crypto hack in history. It seems like we have these every day, so it's like water off our back. Nearly 200 million of crypto assets. Nomad team revealed to Cointelegraph that some of the people who took funds were acting benevolently to protect the crypto from getting into the wrong hands. Well, that's nice. That's nice. I don't believe them, but whatever. Here's where it gets good. The exploited smart contract vulnerability was highlighted in a security audit report done by QuantStamp in the first week of June. So it's about 2 months. The Nomad team responded by claiming it to be effectively impossible to find the pre-image of the empty leaf. Sure. The auditors believe that the Nomad team had misunderstood the issue at the time. Within 2 months, the same vulnerability was the reason behind nearly 200 million in losses. And it goes even deeper than that in the story. I linked it in the description. That's really all you need to know. Here's where it comes down to. How many times we have to see that the project heads are just like, I don't care. We know what we're doing. We don't need any kind of input. We're going to be fine. How many times did we listen to Do Kwon talk about how great everything was going to be in this algorithmic stable coin, even though he had done it before and tried it and failed? He's like, well, I'll do it again and be okay. And now here we are. It just seems like history just keeps repeating itself. People keep losing money. The hubris and the pride of people and the arrogance and the greed just keeps moving forward. And it's like no one ever learns. So for me, it just becomes more, every day becomes a little more clear, a little more clear, a little more clear. And I got to tell you, a lot of the times these days, I kind of see where the Bitcoin maxis are coming from. Not to say there's not great projects, but man, I got to tell you, some of these project heads are just amazing. Anyhow, let me know what you think about that part. Let's move on to another great thing that's going on. Solana. So this is a little confusing to me. I think it's a little confusing to a lot of people out there, even developers, about what exactly is going on. Right now, you can scream at me right now and say, but Rob, it's so easy. This is a Solana hack, or this is an ecosystem hack, or this is a hot wallet hack, or this is this. But every single hour, there is more information that comes out. So this is what I know. Some Fubar has been doing a lot of on-chain analysis. Widespread Solana private key compromise. Attacker is stealing both native tokens and SPL tokens, USDC, affecting wallets have been inactive for more than 6 months. Both Phantom and Slope wallets reportedly drained. Exploit cause unknown, must be an on-stream dependency supply chain attack. Revoking approvals will probably not help. Only transferring to an offline hardware wallet will help. And there's another piece that was put out by Guy from Coin Bureau, and he talked about how if you have any hot wallets that have any Solana or anything with the ecosystem that has to do with it, you got two choices right now. It sounds like you have to transfer it into cold storage. You can't leave it into any hot wallets, which I don't know why you'd leave a bunch of stuff there. It's whatever. The other alternative, which sounds crazy, which is if you don't have a cold storage wallet, which why not? But it's okay if you don't, transfer it to an exchange, which sounds crazy to me because that goes against the rule number 3 below. Don't leave any of that in exchanges. Well, right now we have to, when information changes, I change. If you don't have a cold storage wallet, what's your other option? You can leave it there and hopefully nothing happens. It might work out for you. I have no idea. Or you can just say, you know what, I'm just going to put it on exchange and that'll be it. At least not all of their stuff's on a hot wallet. And it gets so confusing because here's another thing. Not all exchanges are created equal. Okay, so try to get to one of your top 5. If you got Binance, use Binance. If you got FTX, use FTX. I would use FTX if you could. If you don't have either of those, I mean, look at Coinbase and go down the list from there. It seems like there's less and less choices, but that is what is going on. On top of that, there was an issue with the Phantom wallet. And Phantom came out and said, look, this was 18 hours ago, we're working closely with other teams to get to the bottom of a reported vulnerability in the Solana ecosystem. At this time, the team does not believe this is a Phantom-specific issue. As soon as we gather more information, we will issue an update. And there is one weird thing that I have to point out. This is Solana Status, the Twitter account. The status update, let me read this again. Status updates for the Solana network, Solana website, and the Solana Explorer. Follow Solana for daily announcements. So they came out and said, look, an exploit allowed a malicious actor to drain funds from a number of wallets on Solana. As of 5 a.m., approximately almost 8,000 wallets have been affected. This exploit has affected several wallets, including Slope and Phantom. It appears to have affected both mobile and extension. Engineers from multiple ecosystems, with the help of several security firms, are investigating drained wallets on Solana. Interesting. No evidence hardware wallets are impacted yet. So that's just the information that we know right now. So I found this, not that I found this odd that Solana said to this, but what I found odd was that when I went to the Solana Twitter page, you would think they'd be talking about it all over the place. And again, if you're big in Solana, like I have Solana, but I just found it odd that it wouldn't be everywhere. So here's Solana, and they said Hubble, and their retweet, DeFi is becoming vast and sophisticated space. Hubble blog something. Then they talked about early bird pricing for Solana Breakpoint. And they retweeted 21 hours ago Masari. And then something. I don't know. I just found it very odd that the official account from Solana doesn't say anything about the hack in their ecosystem. Not to say that there is a vulnerability from Solana per se. It just strikes me as quite odd. Let me know what you think about that. I'm not going to touch it because it's just big discussion. I will. This is the great thing about being me. I can just sit back because everything's in cold storage pretty much right now. I have the privilege of just sitting back going, well, let's see what the data shows. Let's see where the information comes from, because I don't know, and I can tell you every hour there's new information that comes out. But if I was you, I would take those recommendations, cold storage, or maybe even an exchange. So there is that part, and it gets better. GitHub faces widespread malware attacks affecting projects, including crypto. What's going on here? Major developer platform GitHub, the big places, faced a widespread malware attack and reported 35,000 code hits on a day that saw thousands of Solana-based wallets drained for millions of dollars. It's almost like it's a coordinated attack. It's crazy. The malware attack is targeted at the Docker images, install docs, and npm script. I don't know what that is. That is all Greek to me. I am not a developer, which is a convenient way to bundle common shell commands for a project. Okay, there we go. That makes sense. And then, of course, there's more things here. But again, it's just odd that on the day that these things are getting hacked and hacked and hacked, and here comes GitHub and also gets hacked. It's just interesting times, my friends. So that's what's going on as far as the hacks. Not a greatest day. So let's turn to some good news. I'm just kidding. Here's some more bad news. Robinhood. So we know that here in the United States, the unemployment rate's hovering around 3.6%, which is pretty good. I mean, for us, they say the average or acceptable levels of unemployment is between 4 and 5%. So 3.6 is pretty good. But we're starting to see cracks, and especially those in the tech sector. And here's one big thing. Well, first of all, when it rains, it pours. Robinhood was fined $30 million for some KYC, AML obligations and cybersecurity, secrecy, anti-money laundering acts. And that came down from the DFS, Department of Financial Services, announced Tuesday they're going to pay a $30 million penalty, which I don't know if that's a big deal for them, but it is just one of those, it's like a nail, another kick me when I'm down. And this is what I was trying to get to. Robinhood's cutting about 23% of jobs. 23%. Let me do some quick math. That's a quarter. Yeah, roughly it's 1 out of 4. So, but it gets interesting. So, the company, Robinhood, and the CEO, Vlad Tenev, they blamed the deterioration of the macro environment with inflation at 40-year highs, accompanied by a broad crypto market crash. I found this also interesting. Robinhood laid off 9% of its workforce in April. So you're looking at, what, a third now? Because you got 24% plus 9. Yeah, roughly about a third. A third of all its staff is now laid off since April, or going to be laid off. This part. Earnings report for the second quarter came out. Revenue was $318 million versus the $321 million estimated, which I got to tell you is pretty darn close. Good for them. Losses, 34 cents per share versus 37 cents estimated. Okay. I mean, not horrible. Let's be honest. Could have been much, much worse. And this I found fascinating. Robinhood's total net revenue of $318 million was up from $299 million in the first quarter. And the reason was, thanks to an increase in revenue from cryptocurrency activities and net interest. So at least we can take a look at that and go, well, at least there's some momentum on the crypto side. However, the revenue number was still well below the 565 million reported in the second quarter of 2021. Because remember, second quarter of 2021, you're looking at April, May, June. What happened in 2020, 2021? There was a lot of people who were still, for the COVID and those types of issues. Maybe they were doing a lot more trading still and going from there. So I could see why that, hey, 318 million versus 565, quite a drop off. But it is interesting that cryptocurrency activities made up a big bulk of that. So that is what is going on for, as I would like to call, the bad news so far. There is some little minor things, like we can talk about how household debt is up to 16 trillion, fueled by higher inflation and interest rates. And of course, that's what the CEO of Robinhood was blaming for the downcast. But if you got to take a look at it, I mean, there is some good news on the horizon, which is something like this. Tether, which we all know and love. Crypto market may pump as Tether keeps minting USDT by the billions. And I know there's a lot of people will say, well, maybe that's not that good. But sometimes as Tether starts to print and print and print out of thin air, that's a lot of, that's exactly what the Fed did, didn't they? And it worked out pretty well for our economy. Tether has printed additional billion USDT. The issuance was relaunched after a 3-month break when Tether began to actively build up its supply of stable coins again on July 29th. And usually when you see a lot of pumping of USDT or Tether, you start to see an increase in the market cap. It's like magic what's going on. So I can't, this is not investment advice, but it gets a little scary from here. And I would just warn everybody that could be legit printing. They could actually have that backed one-to-one to hard assets and valuations, dollars, bonds, I don't know, kind of like what USDC does. Or maybe it's out of thin air. I don't know. But if you got $1 billion and they keep printing, well, I can just tell you what it did for the American economy. Anyhow, I mean, what you think about that one. And then also, this was, I thought, was a pretty good piece of pick-me-up. And I'm always hesitant to talk about unlocks because I always feel like there's going to be a dump. But here's a time when I was totally wrong. This is from Polygon, the official Twitter account. And they state an update on the token unlock. As per the initial distribution, Founders' token share was to unlock in October 2021 and April 2022. They did not claim these tokens. Yesterday, those tokens, 640 million of them, were claimed by the founders. And they have committed to stake all the tokens in the network. So instead of the founders going, well, we're just going to dump on you guys. Thank you. We appreciate you. Now let us dump on your heads. They said, no, we're going to stake it all. Not too bad. So I got to tell you, that's kind of a good bright spot for crypto. Not everything's bad. It's just that right now there's a lot more bad than good. And I like to balance things out. I could be hopium all day long if you want me to, but it's not going to do you any good. Not going to do me any good. I try to give you both sides the same stories. And that will lead me to the last point. Here's some more good news. iTrust. So we had an issue this weekend and all the way up until, last night around 7 p.m. or so. But they had shut down their website. They had shut down their trading accounts. They had shut down everything. And of course, iTrust, that is our for Roth IRAs. So for iTrust here, it says account access is restored. More details available here. So this is what we have. And actually, we got to change this from yesterday. Boop. This is what we got. So customer account access and asset transactions are restored and now available. This was last night. All customers will be required to reset their account password to access their account. Well, why is that? I did that. I did that myself. We have confirmed that the July 29th network incident was caused by unauthorized access to iTrust systems by a third party using a compromised corporate account. They disrupted our DNS hosting services and accessed some corporate systems. We secured customer accounts with our custody vendors. We also engaged a leading third-party cybersecurity firm to further secure our systems, investigate the incident, and enhance security protocols. The unauthorized access has been removed from our environment and the system secured. Our investigation has confirmed initial findings that some corporate email accounts, and distribution systems were accessed, and that the customer service system was rerouted in addition to the DNS disruption. iTrust does not hold customer assets, and there is no evidence of access to customer accounts. So who holds their accounts? Well, it's Coinbase Custody. Coinbase Custody is the same one that works with Michael Saylor, MicroStrategy, which they have, thousands and thousands of Bitcoins. And so they feel that that's pretty secure. But the next thing is this, because I was thinking to myself, when I took a look at my account, which this is me inside here, Bitcoin's worth 23,000. Did you know, I forgot about this, but you can sell within your Roth IRA account if you wanted to. Like I could sell right here. I don't have that much Bitcoin, but remember, you can only put so much into your account. And you can put a conditional price, which is like setting your market price for whatever you wanted to set for, and then have it sell there. So if I want to say, well, I think Bitcoin's going on 20,000, whoops, I could sell it and it would just wait. So you have my limit orders right there, and then you can sell it right here. But the question that I had was, well, if I do these things and I sell it, how do I take the money out? First of all, it's a Roth IRA. So just know that if you're doing that, there's tax implications. But if you'd like to request a distribution, please submit a form by following this link. Upon completing the form, we'll send you the next steps as well as a DocuSign to proceed within 1 or 2 business days. Distributions will take up to 7 to 14 business days after the DocuSign is signed, depending on our volume of requests. So again, when I take a look at this, I'm like, even if somebody got access to my information and they were able to log into my account, even for them to, they could sell all my crypto, but they couldn't take it out unless they go through this process. And every time that if this would happen, they actually have to notify you anyhow. So I'm thinking to myself, well, it's not bad. So I take a look at iTrust and go, okay, I can get on board with that. Just seems like it's a little hiccup, and that's where we're at. So look, that, my friends, is it for today. And I know it's not the best news that you might want to hear, but it is the most honest news I can bring to you. And that's it for today. So look, if you got to take off, get out of here. I appreciate you stopping by and just talking with the news with me. But if you want to stick around, we're going to do the daily news part, little Q&A, or just the Q&A, and we'll go from there. So if you got to take off, adios. Thanks so much.